Hey, what's up, guys? Alan Johnson with the AJ team, and this is a real estate alert. So typically, you guys hear me talk about real estate updates, but this is actually a real estate alert because there are some big changes that we're specifically seeing in the DMV real estate market that I want to make sure that you, as our past clients, current clients, people that have done business with us and trust our real estate wisdom, understand. So I've got notes, right? And I've been very fortunate to be in real estate for 25 years. So I've been in an up and I've been in down, sideways, topsy-turvy, all types of markets, right? And right now, market values are declining in the DMV. Now, some are minimal and some are 10% plus. So I had some conversation with some sellers, and what they thought their property was worth at the beginning of the year is now worth 10% less. There's some people in DC where that number is closer to 15%. And there's some people where it's 1% to 2% less, right? But wherever you are in the DMV, and it really doesn't matter what price point you're in, if you're in a condo, townhome, single family, whatever you think your property is worth, you need to be starting to think about where you fall on that scale. Are you closer to 3% less, or are you closer to 15% less, depending on where you are? And if you need us to answer that question for you, reach out to us. We will do that for you. Number two is I'm making this video on September the 30th. It'll probably come out in the beginning of October to you. But September the 30th is a really big day, specifically in DMV real estate. And the reason why is because this is the last day that a lot of retirees, people who took the Doge option, right? Or the Doge, not even an option, but whatever you call it. It's the deadline. And I've already started to receive calls from people who own properties who aren't necessarily paycheck to paycheck, but they're paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, right? And the way they could live prior to, this date is very different than the way they will be able to live after the first of the year. So this is a really, really big day, specifically in the DMV. Doge affected really a lot of the DMV. A lot of the counties that we sell real estate in, from Prince William to Fairfax, over across the bridge to the counties in Maryland and specifically in DC as well. Everyone got affected. And it really was like not price range specific. A lot of the people that have called us are people who have high level government jobs, high level, contracting support jobs or contracts that support the government. And, we underestimate what happens when 250,000 people either have to find new employment or have to recalibrate their spending or have to really rethink about how their financial lives are being shaped. So this is a really, really big day. And I think that this day is going to be a pivotal day when it comes to DMV real estate. And I know that this is going to put more pressure on value. So this is the day that we're really looking at between now and the spring as to how much more we're going to pull back. All right. Those that sold between 2022 and 2024, congratulations. You guys sold at the top of the real estate. Now, that doesn't mean that, you shouldn't prepare for what's going on next, but you also need to know that if you bought during that time and you're in a situation where you're going to have to sell in the next 5 years, then we need to really talk about what you can do between now and then to make sure you put yourself in the best position to be able to sell, to be able to buy, whatever it is, right? So I'm still selling. I've got one of my rental properties that I'm selling, and I'm still buying. I'm looking at properties. Really, we're buying a property every quarter. In real estate, it's very hard to time the market. I can't time the market, and I own millions of dollars worth of real estate and advise people who own millions of dollars of real estate. But what you can do is you can be ready. So what I wrote down is 8 areas of opportunity. And if you know anyone who needs this type of information, send it to them or send us their information so we can go through it. So the first area of opportunity is to make sure you take care of your home. So it sounds simple, but there's so many people that purchase homes over the past 5 years. If you purchased a home during COVID, you probably couldn't get a home inspection, right? And it's likely you didn't get a home inspection after you purchased the property. We're seeing a lot of people that are ignoring deferred maintenance. And deferred maintenance in the past, you could get away with it. But now you can't get away with it. And the cost that the market is going to discount you is going to be more than it would cost you to actually get the work done. And then renovations matter, right? So smart renovations, making sure that your bathrooms, your kitchens, all of those things matter. If you have a low interest rate, you should be thinking about reinvesting some of those savings into your property, because it is going to not necessarily raise the value of your property, but maintain the value of your property. Next is consider a home inspection yearly. You can't fix what you can't see, right? And there are a lot of people that just don't know what's going on with their home. And when they go to sell it, there are things that they could have fixed over the past couple of years that have turned into things that have just dominoed into major things. So think about getting a home inspection yearly. We get a home inspection yearly, not only on our properties, but our investment properties. And it costs us money, but it saves us so much more down the line. And if you either need a vendor for any deferred maintenance, or if you need a vendor for renovations, or if you need a home inspector, call us first. We've got people that we've got great relationships with, and our tribe is your tribe. A couple of other things is get a HELOC. Crystal and I have gotten a HELOC. Now, it's important for you to understand is you can't get a HELOC on your investment property. It's very expensive to get a HELOC on your investment property, right? And actually, it's damn near impossible. You can find a lender that's going to give you a home equity line of credit on your investment property. You found a unicorn. But you can get a HELOC on your primary residence. And what has always served us well is having access to cash in markets like this, right? So access to cash to tide you over from month to month, access to cash to be able to do your renovations, access to cash if you find another real estate opportunity, because there are going to be a lot of really, really good real estate opportunities. And we'll get to that here in a second, but you have to have access to cash to be able to do that, right? And a lot of you have equity in your home. Just because you get a home equity line of credit doesn't mean that you need to use it, but it is very important for you to be able to have access to that money so that if an opportunity does come, you are ready to act. So these are the places, these are the opportunities that we see. And I want you guys to really make sure you focus on this. So anyone who's a move up or a move down buyer, this is a really good opportunity for you. So that includes any retirees who own a property. Yeah, you might not be able to sell at the top of the market, but now you don't have to necessarily compete, overpay, or drop all your contingencies for the property that you want to purchase. And I've been having a lot of conversations with clients that are like, well, my home isn't worth as much. But guess what? Your home might not be worth as much that you're selling, but the home that you're buying isn't going to be as expensive either. So that $20,000 that you may proverbially not get here is $20,000 or more that you will likely make up here. All right. The next opportunity is first-time home buyers. Right. So if you have a kid or if you have someone in your life that's a first-time home buyer, this is a good opportunity to seed them a little bit of money, perhaps from equity that you have in your home, or from if you sold a home and you have some cash set to the side, to be able to seed in them a little bit of money, not necessarily for a down payment, but to perhaps pay down their rate or do renovations that they may need to be able to get into a property that gives them sweat equity for the next cycle of real estate, which is what we're preparing them for. And the last three, sellers that are moving to a cheaper market. This is a really good opportunity, specifically sellers who are in the DMV. You're selling, I got to make sure that I give you a reality check. Just because you're not selling at the top of the market doesn't mean that you're not selling near the height of the market, right? Because remember, when we were at 2012, right? You were here at the top of the market. You're probably about right here now. So you are don't focus on this little bit when you have all of these gains down here, right? So sellers that are moving to a cheaper market, this is a really good opportunity for you. Selling a more expensive home in the DMV and going to South Carolina or Texas or, Carolina or anywhere else, this is a really, really good opportunity. And then the last two are about assumption opportunities. Now, we're one of the very few realtors that have executed on assumption deals. And if you don't know about assumptions in short are, if you are purchasing a property, you can also purchase the loan, not necessarily purchase the loan, but you can assume the loan of the seller if the seller has a low interest rate. And then you have to bring the difference between what the seller's loan amount is and what the seller's trying to sell the property for. And oftentimes, when you look at the savings over the life of the loan, the savings are actually oftentimes more than what you'll pay for the actual home. It's a wonderful opportunity. So VA buyers, you are one of the loans that you can actually, a VA loan is a loan you could assume. And then for sellers, we found that in this market, us being able to market your home with a low interest rate gives you an advantage over your neighbors who can't do such. So any VA buyer or VA seller should be calling us because we understand it and most agents don't. And then last but not least, FHA loans, right? So sellers with FHA loans with low interest rates, those can be assumed as well. And those can be marketed as well. All right. So I know it's a lot, but I wanted to make sure I got this real estate alert out to you. If you guys need a 15-minute consultation, reach out to us. We'll have a link here so you can actually, reach out to us. We really want you guys to be prepared for the market because unfortunately, I'm having conversations with a lot of real estate agents who are calling us for advice because they have never been in a down market. They've never been in a shifting market and they can't even wrap their heads around the advice they need to take. So it's very hard for them to give you advice, right? So if you look back at my predictions, back at the beginning of 2022, I said that I was the only agent. Go back to my social media post that said the interest rates were going to rise. I said they were going to rise above 5.25%, 5.5%. I was right. If you look at my past videos, if you look at the video that I put out at the beginning of this year, go back to it. I said that the Trump effect was going to have a diabolical effect on specifically DMV real estate. My numbers were almost spot on. I said it was going to be somewhere between 3 and about 12%. Look at that video, right? So I'm constantly studying the market. Our team is constantly studying the market so you guys can make sure that you're updated and alerted when it comes time for you to make a real estate move. So reach out to us, send us your referrals. If you have not given us a 5-star review, take the time to give us a 5-star review on Google. We're almost up to 700, but this is the reason why people value the AJ team because of these types of updates. And I want to make sure that you guys are ahead of the market and not behind the market. All right. You have the dream. We have the address. Alan Johnson with the AJ team. We'll see you soon.